First we've got Sue Kirkland from
Yes.
Project Hope. Could you tell me a little bit about the project and the pony?
Oh, well, we take calls from people who are concerned about horses, and we took this little horse from some people up the country when they rescued a whole mob of horses, and they were worried that this horse hadn't been able to be befriended. So they said, would we take it? We took it. The only paddock we had left was a large paddock, and whilst it flourished over a couple of months and it became friendlier, it still wouldn't come within 6 metres. The people where it's with couldn't have done the work, so we had to get some intensive work done.
Well, you're welcome. So, yeah, so how did you find out about me?
Oh, it's always networks. We were just sharing this real dilemma about were we faced with some bad decisions now for this pony or not? What could we do? And I was talking to a lady, Leah, who did a lot of the pro bono work for us on some of the ponies, and she mentioned somebody that she knew that had a particular approach of working with horses, and so he agreed to come. We agreed that he should come out and spend a day, and that was the start. And that didn't get there; it got part way, but then we said, well, where are we at? And then led on to you. It was part of your networks we got into at that stage.
So that would be David, huh?
That is David.
Yeah. So yeah, well, yeah, David did give me a call, and he was really keen to see this pony saved, I guess, because it's the last chance, I suppose, if we couldn't get it caught. So how do you come into this then, Lee?
Well, Dave's helped me in the past. When I first came to Victoria, I didn't have a horse, and it was only 3 years later that I acquired my first horse after a 12-year break, and I needed some float loading and did a little bit of a search around on the internet, having no idea of who was a good person to get hold of in the area. I just sort of did my research, and he seemed to come up with all the goodies. So I contacted Dave, and that's where our relationship started. He came in and helped me with my first horse, and then in August last year I took on another standardbred off the recycle circuit that unfortunately came with a huge posse of mental problems that were fairly significant. And so Dave got pulled in again, and he did such a fantastic job that, of course, he was the first person I thought about who could potentially start the handling process to this little pony. When he realised it was outside his limitations, he, of course, then on referred us to yourself, being his mentor. And obviously he's a trainer with you, but he bowed down to your experience.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Dave would have done a great job. When he called me, he said the only thing I can't do is swing a lasso, and really you're going to have to rope the little pony. So if it wasn't for that, I'm sure I wouldn't need it to come. But I enjoyed the practice with my rope, even though the guys that watch the video later will see I didn't actually get it where I was aiming, but we got it caught. So you're going to take this pony on, and it's going to be your little project from now on.
Yes, well, I put my hand up and said I would take her on and work with the committee of Project Hope if they were able to sort of follow me on this little journey and see that we were making progress. I will take responsibility for her, and she'll go on to live out her days with me.
Well done.
And she'll have a good job.
Well, this is the first I've even heard of Project Hope, so it's great if anybody's watching that you deal with any sort of ponies that look like they're being neglected or they're in distress of any sort.
Yeah, well, it's fortunate. I think every state in Australia now has got a rescue organisation that's forming. We've just been fortunate in that this was started 30 years ago. It's entirely dependent on volunteers, on people who will give extra time to just do some of that short-term care or to find a long-term home, as Leah's offered for the little spirit. And we try and look and see what we can do to help owners. And it gets enormous amount of help, pro bono help from people in different parts of the horse world, as much as we can, because it's what the horse people do together.
Well, I'm glad I could be of some help, and it's really good to see this little pony carry on and have a great life, that's for sure.
Steve, I'd just like to thank you for being there and making yourself available. It's so fortunate that you offered to help us, pro bono in that situation, because it was absolutely fantastic. And also that you were actually here at the point in time that we needed to make decisions about this pony. It was just extremely timely the way everything happened, you know, for this one, and exhausting for you too.
Well, it's sort of strange how things work out, isn't it, really? I mean, the way it did work out, Dave was here a week before I was coming over, otherwise it would have been rather difficult to organise.
That's true.
Sometimes it just all comes together because it's meant to.
Okay. Well, guys, I hope you enjoy the video. As you'll see when you have a look at my roping skills, I got it on the head, but it didn't stay where I put it. But we got the pony caught, and happily it's been transported, and it's in a new home now, and we'll keep you updated. Okay, we're over here in Victoria, and these two horses have been rescued. And the one with the halter on, dragging the halter, they got that on in a very small crush area, and now they've got to be caught and moved and rehomed, and nobody can catch them at the moment. So I'm over here to see if I can get this one caught. So I haven't got a cameraman to do all the filming, so we'll just I'll do a bit. See how we go. Okay, well, I started to work at Liberty this horse, and it was coming pretty good with a couple of sticks, but the foal would run through the sticks. And then after a while, Mum realised she could run through the sticks, so we had to abandon that and rope the horse. And as you can see where the rope is, it didn't land exactly, well, it did land where I wanted, but she ran through it and it ended up around her belly. So we just let it run until it was around her chest and control her. And finally I could get hold of this rope. So now we've got to the point where I'm teaching it to follow a feel and yield, and I'd like to get the rope off at some stage. But I'm not really that worried at the moment about having to get it off immediately, because once I'm behind the shoulder or the drive line, the horse is more likely to run forwards, and if it gets away from me with it around the girth, then we'll have to go through the whole procedure all over again. So I just needed to get confident enough at the moment until I can get this rope off and get so I can handle her everywhere, and then we'll do another session later when I've got my cameraman over here. We'll be able to film a lot more. But at least you've seen, you know, how it's looking right now. Well, she really doesn't want to come up, but at least she's starting to learn to follow a feel. There, step up. So basically what happened is the rope went there, and say she turned towards you, towards the camera, and ran, then the end of the rope went around her chest. And when I had her in that position, I could take a hold and slow her down and get her to face me. And the rest of the time was trying to make sure the foal didn't get tangled up in my rope and everything was working okay. So I'm going to work these angles around here until I can get the shoulder to come past me and go towards where the foal is right now. But I need to teach her not to just run off when I get behind that drive line. So I just need to reach out for my rope at some stage. I don't necessarily have to throw it off over the rump. If I can get it big enough, I could take it off over the head, or it doesn't really matter how I do it. But if she's not going to let me reach out and sniff my hand, then probably there's not a chance of me getting past the drive line yet. So we'll just keep going back on working on this for now. Because now the foal's running around and being a bit emotional, she might decide she has to join in. There you go. I've got to be really quick with that block, because if she got me 90 degrees on me, she's strong enough to just take off and drag me away. So I've got to remember where those angles are. So once I'm behind that drive line and she's at least 90 degrees away, if I haven't blocked her already, it's going to be pretty hard to get her stopped. See, I'm sort of behind the drive line. Now she's faced me, that's good. So when I get sort of on the wither here, she's either going to run forwards or decide to face me because she'd rather face me. So facing me is good, because that means she's not going to run away. But on the other hand, I'm not going to get any closer to getting the rope off. So if I could put some energy behind there, and she stepped up, and all I really did was pick up my rope there, and that was plenty of energy to get this horse to move the hips. On this side, can you move your hips? Yeah. Come around on this side, can you move your hips? Because that's what's going to help me not have her run away and drag me off somewhere, is that ability to disengage those hindquarters. I'm going to work with this stick, but this rope is a bit of a liability, so I'm going to get rid of the coils out there somewhere, so I'll make sure I don't put my foot through them. Get the stick and just see what happens when I just move it around in different places. See, already I've got quite a lot of worry, and I'm not even thinking of taking the stick near the pony. Just going to bring it around, lift it up, put it down. She's actually quite sore now. She's got off that adrenaline. That right leg is sore, but she had a problem with it before we started. So we need to get her calm enough and quiet enough to get some attention on that leg. So I'm going to just work these angles, the sides. You see, hey, it's okay. So if I'd have just gone in and tried to touch her with that, she'd have had to just leave for sure. So I'm just going to work these angles. You know, one eye, then the other eye, especially this higher space, because if I get alongside her, I'm going to be pretty tall. You know, she's reached out and touched me a couple of times, but she touched me fairly firmly and then scared herself almost instantly. So if you can cope with it up here, and probably the best area I've found over the years to touch is if I came around level with the shoulder, I'd get way less of a reaction than if I came up here or really low around the fetlocks. So if I come in here and she looks like she might sniff it, I take it away. I just like to start thinking of rubbing her along the body without me being that close, but we'll see what happens. If she can sniff it, and it depends how hard she reaches for it. If she touches it really hard, she'll probably jump away from it. There you go, you can touch it, you can touch it, there you go. There, take it away, she touched it. And I'd like to be able to touch her on the nose so she'll sniff it. And while she's sniffing it, if I could get it to touch her shoulder or neck and just rub the airspace around her. And even that nearly got her to leave. I rub the airspace around her. And she's touched, I mean the foal runs past and knocks into her, so she's not afraid of being touched, she's just afraid of what she thinks might kill her. You know, I'm going to touch down there and maybe just touch the neck, or now I'm just about to touch the hair there. And I just get ready in case she just takes off to her right and rub her a little more. There we go. So I've touched her on the neck, touched her on the neck. Take it away a little. She can't stand it for too long. Bring it in again. Just reach for her airspace there. There we go. And rub down her neck with the hair. Take it away. Do it again. Maybe get it a little longer so I don't touch her with the scratchy end of the stick. Just touch her with the middle of it there, and again. It's all right, nobody's going to eat you. And see if I can keep it there till she turns her nose a little to the left and looks at it, rather than tips her nose to the right, ready to leave. I'll drift with her. There we go. There we go. That's it, take it away. She tipped her nose just a tiny bit to the left. And be aware of where my coils are on this rope. I don't want to get my leg stuck in there, because if I did lose her and she ran around and I get tangled up in the rope as well, that'll be a horse and a foal and a human in trouble. So there we go. You get long enough to just drift, rub and rub and rub. You know, and the human can go, oh, she should like this, horses like being rubbed. If she's afraid, she's not going to like being rubbed. She might tolerate it. It's going to take a while until there's some trust there before she decides that that's a nice thing. From me anyway. She wouldn't mind if it was another pony. That's it. And then when I change eyes in a minute, we'll have to go through this all over again. Whoops, that was the end of the stick again. She find that irritating. It's okay though. There we go. Now she's okay, take it away. So many times we take the pressure off when the horse is telling you to take the pressure off, instead of waiting until they've accepted whatever you were doing before you took it off. Now, I had some licking and chewing there, so that feels like a good sign, but still. So many times we take the pressure off when the horse is telling you to take the pressure off, instead of waiting until they've accepted whatever you were doing before you took it off. Now I'm going to the other side, so I'm going to get a reaction on this side. I'm maybe a metre away at the moment, sort of doing that, rubbing the airspace around the horse. Yeah, you see, she's just on her limits of what she might tolerate right there. So some of the old ideas sacking her out maybe, would be more like flooding when she's this worried. You might think she got scared enough and then stood still that she'd accept it.